The whispering pines of Wisconsin held their breath. Moonlight, filtered through a dense canopy of emerald needles, cast an unsettling mosaic on the forest floor. Here, amongst the gnarled roots and damp undergrowth, lurked a legend as old as the trees themselves, the Hodag. This wasn't your ordinary beast. Imagine a creature stitched together from the nightmares of lumberjacks, the thunderous head of a snorting bull, its eyes glowing embers in the gloom. A reptilian body, armored like a leviathan from a bygone era, bore the cruel scars of countless battles. Short, powerful legs churned the earth, leaving behind a trail of destruction, and wickedly long claws gleamed with an unnerving promise of violence. A grotesque parody of a tail, tipped with razor-sharp barbs, writhed like a demonic serpent, a constant threat to any who dared approach. Whispers claimed the Hodag possessed an even more unsettling feature, a grotesquely human face contorted in a perpetual snarl, a chilling reminder of the monstrous intelligence lurking within. Some swore they'd seen a single tear roll down that inhuman visage, a tear that spoke of a twisted soul trapped within a monstrous form. The origins of the Hodag were as shrouded as the forest itself. Tales spun around campfires spoke of a connection to the legendary Paul Bunyan, the colossal lumberjack who carved his name across the American landscape. They said Bunyan possessed a loyal blue ox, a beast of such immense size and strength that trees trembled at its approach. But even legends have endings, and when the ox finally succumbed to age, its passing was a spectacle in itself. Its massive body, imbued with Bunyan's Herculean spirit, burned for a seemingly endless 7 years. From those smouldering ashes the campfire tales go, the Hodag emerged, a monstrous rebirth fueled by the ox's untamed power and an insatiable hunger. However, documented encounters with the Hodag paint a different picture. Enter Eugene S. Shepherd, a land surveyor with a mischievous twinkle in his eye and a penchant for a tall tale. In the late 19th century, Shepherd claimed to have stumbled upon the undeniable evidence of the Hodag's existence, a stench so foul it could curdle milk and wilt flowers at a distance. It was a stench that clung to the nostrils long after exposure, a sickly, sweet, cloying odor that spoke of decay and a predator's lair. With a pounding heart and a tremor in his voice, Shepherd led a group of brave, or perhaps foolish souls following this repugnant trail. The air grew colder, the shadows deeper, as they ventured closer to the source of the stench. Finally, they reached their destination, a dark, gaping cave near Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Here, within the inky depths, they supposedly encountered the legendary beast. But this is where the legend takes a sharp turn into the realm of the unbelievable. Shepherd's account of capturing the Hodag is shrouded in suspicion. He claimed the creature, this monstrosity that supposedly terrorized the countryside, was subdued with surprising ease. A net, a few well-placed ropes, and the Hodag was theirs, its monstrous roars echoing through the cavern before being smothered by the damp earth. The townsfolk of Rhinelander were skeptical, to say the least. Shepherd's timing was impeccable. The legend of the Hodag, once a campfire story to frighten children, was experiencing a resurgence. Was Shepherd a cunning showman, exploiting a local legend for his own gain? Or was he a reluctant monster tamer, the sole keeper of a terrifying secret? The mystery deepened with Shepherd's outlandish claims. He spoke of venturing back into the cave, this time capturing a female Hodag by the ingenious method of chopping down the tree she used to rest against. This unlikely couple, according to Shepherd, then produced a clutch of 13 eggs, each hatching into a miniature Hodag. Visions of a monstrous breeding program danced in the minds of those who heard the tale. Shepherd's audacious claims went even further. He boasted of training his Hodag offspring to perform tricks, a prospect as terrifying as it was fantastical. Imagine a ramshackle tent lit by flickering gaslight, the stench of the Hodag overpowering the crowd, and then a lumbering beast, half bull, half lizard, clumsily attempting to walk a tightrope. The image is both ludicrous and strangely unsettling. The crowd roared with a mixture of nervous laughter and genuine fear. Was this a monstrous entity, tamed by a showman's whip, or a cleverly crafted illusion? Despite Shepherd's elaborate tales, no other credible sightings of the Hodag have ever been documented. Yet whispers persist. In the remote caves of Wisconsin, and even as far south as Tennessee, some claim to have glimpsed a hulking shadow or caught a whiff of the telltale stench. The legend refuses to die, a testament to the power of a good story, or perhaps a chilling reminder that the Whispering Pines hold secrets deeper than anyone dares to imagine. One moonless night, a young lumberjack named Silas, fueled by too much tavern ale and bravado, decided to prove the Hodag a mere myth. Ignoring the warnings of the grizzled old bartender, Silas ventured deep into the forbidden woods beyond Rhinelander. The air grew thick and oppressive, the silence broken only by the unsettling snap of a twig underfoot. Suddenly, a most horrific stench assaulted Silas' senses. It was unlike anything he'd ever encountered, a putrid cocktail of decay and something far more primal. Panic clawed at his throat as he stumbled through the undergrowth, desperately searching for the source. Then he saw it. A hulking shadow detached itself from the darkness, its form vaguely discernible in the faint moonlight filtering through the trees. It was massive, easily twice the size of any bear Silas had ever seen. A low growl, a sound that vibrated through his very bones, emanated from the beast. Terror stripped Silas of reason. He turned and fled, his boots pounding a frantic rhythm against the damp earth. Behind him, the crashing of branches and the heavy footfalls of the creature spurred him on. He could hear its raspy breaths hot on his neck, the stench intensifying with every passing second. Just as Silas thought his lungs would burst, he burst out of the tree line, collapsing onto the porch of the very tavern he'd scoffed at earlier. The bartender, a man who'd seen his fair share of drunken bravado, looked at Silas's wide, terrified eyes and knew something was terribly wrong. Silas never fully recovered from that night. He left lumberjacking, the memory of the encounter etched into his very soul. The townsfolk whispered of his encounter, some believing him, others dismissing it as another tall tale spun by a man touched by fear. The legend of the Hodag continued to evolve. Was it a monstrous entity, a product of the untamed wilderness, or was it a cunning fabrication by a showman, a story that thrived on the fertile ground of fear and a thirst for the extraordinary? The answer, like the creature itself, remained shrouded in the shadows of the Whispering Pines. But for those who dared to venture deep into the woods, the legend served as a chilling reminder some stories are best left untold, and some secrets are best undisturbed.